This demonstration, we're going to take a look at a quick tour of SQL Server Analysis Services. And so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to look at it from the point of view of integration services. So I'm sorry, using SQL Server Management Studio, not integration services. So I've got Management Studio open, and I've tied into the Analysis Services database. And the first thing I have down here is Plano Robotics, and here's the cube for Plano Robotics. And if I right-click that and select Browse, my Browse window will open on up. So if I drop down here, here's my measures and my measure groups. I've expanded out Inventory Fact. If I right-click Inventory Fact and select Add to Data Area, you see I have nothing in there. Now again, I'm going to go over here to Plano Robotics, the cube, and I'm going to right-click that down here. I'm going to call Process. And when she calls process, it's going to come through here, and I'm going to allow it to process. That is, to come through and actually generate the aggregations that we can see. All right, and this is a very simplistic cube. I'm going to close on out of that, and let's clear this on out and see if we have anything now. So now you see we have actually something into our inventory level, and I could come down here and look at back orders, etc. And if I come down here and expand out the dimensions, here's my product hierarchy, which I'll show you in just a second. And let's add that on into the row area. And as you see, we expanded on down, and I've got different products down here for the fictitious company, Plano Robotics. As she drills on down here, inventory levels and the number on back order, etc. Let's look at a little more sophisticated one. So now we're going to, let me close this one out and come in and take a look at our friend AdventureWorks. And down here into the cubes, I'm going to right click again and browse into my cube. Here's my measures. Remember, the measures are the facts. So if we look at internet sales, and here's my measure internet sales amount, and these are actually calculations, but if I right click this and add it into data, there's my internet sales amount. And let's take a look at that by, say, date. Date, I'm going to drop on down. You notice I have a calendar year and a fiscal year. If I move it on down to my calendar year, and I'll right click my calendar year and I'll add that to the rows. And now here's my calendar years, and here's my sales, and I can expand that on out as I drill in across. All right. Let's switch over and take a look at this cube from the point of view of the developer. So I've switched on over to BIDS, Business Intelligence Development Studio, and I have the same cube open. I have AdventureWorks open over in here, and I'm on the browser part of the tab, which is this, so I can run queries the same as I was doing off of when I was using Management Studio. So again, let's take internet sales amount, add it to the data, and again, if we come down here and take a look at date, and there's our calendar. Let's look at fiscal this time. I'll right-click fiscal, and I'll add that to the row, and here's my fiscal sales. So as my calendar expands on across. Let's go over and take a look at the structure of the cube. So if I click over here on the cube structure, again, I'm still looking at the AdventureWorks cube. And now you see down in here that those tables that are lined in yellow are the fact tables. Those tables that are in blue are the dimension tables. Remember, the dimensions give context to the facts as we drill on across. We can come in and take a look at, for example, the dimension usage tab, which is pretty important. My dimension usage tab shows me my measure groups. Again, here's my internet sales measure group, and see these groupings of different measures of different facts are commonly looked at together. So there's internet sales, and you can just pick that up real easy. Reseller sales, reseller unit price would not make sense to be up in internet sales, etc. So now if I come over and look at my dimension usage, now here's my internet sales, here's my reseller sales, and anytime you see these white boxes in here, that means there is a relationship between that dimension and this measure group down here. For example, employee is not related to internet sales. You can see that's grayed down across. Let's go in and take a look at that. I'm back over here. I'm in Management Studio. I'm going to clear out the results. Now let's add in internet sales again. And I'm going to pull that on down. I'm going to select employee, department, and I'll add that down there into the row area. And you see everything is the same Everything is the same because the default return is all. So the default member, if you will, is all. So everything is going to return. If we drill on down and expand it on out, it's always going to come back in here. It's not going to return an error on you and tell you that you have no idea what you're doing. Instead, it's just going to return this. So we can pick that up again because you see there is no relationship. My calculations tab, nothing really. Here's my different canned calculations. This is where I'm picking up all of those ratios. Here's the average unit price. So again, if I go over and look at the cube structure, and as I drop on down here, if I have these different ratios down here, that's shown over here in my calculations. Here's my KPIs. KPIs are fairly important. The KPIs that we're creating here in the cube, we can use when we come through and create dashboards, and we can import them straight off of analysis services into the dashboards that I'm creating in either SQL Server Reporting Services or within Dashboard Designer using Performance Point Services. And actions. All right, this gives me the ability to come in and create my actions down here. And that's about it for analysis services.